Alrighty, working on this 2006 F250 where the driver's seat doesn't work. This is my truck. The driver's seat has not worked in a couple of years. Actually, several years. But it's set up where I sit, so it hasn't really been an issue. But I'm going to try to fix it. Now, what happens... Let me get in here, see if this camera will cooperate. Tilt you up here. 112, I believe it is your driver's seat. 114 is your passenger seat. But the second you put a fuse in there, it pops. So, I'll go in, and, we can see we have our supply side at 12 volts, but we have ground where we shouldn't. And actually I can verify that with, with the old scope on a rope. So that's our supply. And then if I come down here, see here, I'll do this one-handed. So, let's see if we can do this one-handed here. So I've got to hit the power. And once again, I can verify with my test light. Turn it where we can see it. My test light lit up, so I have a ground right here where I should not have a ground. It is a power seat. Obviously, it moves back and forth. There's opportunities for wires to rub. So I need to figure out where we'll rub through so I can get my power seat working again. Alright, got the 2 bolts out in the front. They're 18 millimeters, same with the back. But I'm pretty tall, so my back bolts are pretty far up under here. I was able to get at them with, with a ratcheting wrench with that one. But this one back here, I had to use the open end the whole way. And you got to watch out for these things. When you get under there, when you think you've got it finger tight, these little retainers right here, these little metal ones, they hold on the little like trim pieces that cover it up. That this truck, they rarely have them, when they're 15 years old. These things were just ready to slice you right open, which is perfect. So just watch out for those when you think you got it tight and you can get in there with your little digits and spin it out. These things are ready to cut you pretty good. Alright, I got the seat tilted back here. This top connector, I'm pretty sure that goes to that. That's going to go to the seat belt. This bottom one down here, this is the one we're looking at. And service data said dark green, but that's just green. I believe that green wire is going to be our power. So I guess let's unplug this, try to separate it. And see if we still have a ground where we shouldn't when this is unplugged. So, I don't know if this will be a... Yeah, this is unfortunately not going to be a... well, maybe I can get out one-handed. Let's see here. There we go. Alright, unfortunately, I don't see any issues just right off the bat. With any of this wiring, which is a bummer, because that could mean it's the motor. But anyway, that's disconnected. Let's go take a look under the fuse box and see if we still have a ground where we shouldn't. Alright, so back of the fuse box. So we saw power, obviously, where we should. We do not have a ground anymore. And if I send power to that circuit, it doesn't blow the fuse, the internal fuse in the power probe. So, that's going to mean our problem is somewhere here back into the seat. So I guess I'm going to yank the seat out so I can get better access to the bottom, see if I can't figure out what our deal is. Alright, unrelated to blowing fuses, I don't know if you saw, I had a seat pad in here. I keep a seat pad in this truck just because I thought the foam was just completely worn out, which it may be. And I bought foam years ago and I just haven't put it in. But it turns out my fat ass is just blown out. all of the support wire that runs across that the foam sits on. So maybe that's my issue. Anyway. All right, I'm going to pull this off. There are 2 screws underneath here, a screw behind the lumbar, a screw behind the back adjust, and there's a big Christmas tree fastener in the back. And that will let you pull this all off. All the screws, they all appear to be the same size, so you don't even got to worry about getting them mixed up. All right, one more note is the lumbar knob. It just pulls straight off. There are some little raised area that it indexes on here, but it just pulls straight off. I just used a little trim panel tool. Comes off a little bit harder than you think it would, but it should pop off just fine. All right. Well, good news, bad news on this one. The little bit of good news is that it's working now. I have the fuse bypassed just with the power probe. This thing has a it's like 10 amps for like 30 seconds, 15 for 10 seconds, 25 for something like that. But I know it should only do 25 amps for 2 seconds before the internal circuit pops, or before it resets or whatever. And this is a 30 amp fuse. Now here's the problem, is that I give it power, and now the rails work. And you know, we can do it for several seconds. I can bottom it out, and it never pops this fuse. So wherever my short circuit is not here anymore, which is a big bummer, because I know I'm going to let somebody else drive this thing, or I'm going to sell it or something, and then it's going to go short circuit again. So I guess maybe I'll double check some of these wires here in the sill plate and then the kick panel. Just, you know, maybe, because I know the wires come that way. And there are those little wire clips or those little plastic clips hold this on, a little with the real mean metal teeth. And I don't know. I'm gonna try to clean some of this up before I put it back into. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'll get it put back together. I'll put a real fuse in it, and then we'll see what happens. All right. Well, keeping with the tradition of it better being lucky than it is being good, I noticed that this was coming through the hole over here instead of the little slit in the carpet it's supposed to. So I mean, you know, whatever. It's a 15-year-old truck, or so, you know, carpet may have been out at one point for something. I kind of noticed that it was pinched, and then I started peeling back the loom here, and I don't think it's going to focus, but there it is. It was just routed the wrong way and was pinched up against the stud here for the seat. So I'm going to get that repaired, and then we should be good to go. All right, so another cool thing that just happened. So I'm waiting on a cylinder head for that red truck, because that one has a burnt valve in it. It's cracked. So Rock Auto has one, like $260 maybe, and then like 125 or 150 on the core. So the FedEx person just arrives, and I get an email saying it's here, and I see part of the container for the cylinder head, but I definitely don't see the rest of it, so I guess I got to get that resolved. Alright. Let's see. I'm probably not going to be able to see anything, but I figure let's peel this loom back a little bit. Get to our wire. Alright, the ground's still intact. Just this green, which is our power wire. I really should just tape it up and leave it be, but we'll do the right thing. We should have plenty of wire to do what we want to do here, I would imagine. Alright. Alright, don't forget to put your heat shrink on. before you get to soldering. Don't ask me how I know. Not that it matters on the inside, but this is the kind that has the goo on the inside that would, you know, keep it weather tight. Let's do it this way. Let's just put the wires together. She's not gonna. Let's. I don't know if it's a current deal. I've got these wires so jacked up. I really should just go get a bigger piece of heat shrink. I think that's the real answer here. These strands are a lot stiffer than you would imagine. Yeah, let me go get a bigger piece of heat shrink. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we now have a large piece of heat shrink on here. Wires together. 10. Using a Milwaukee soldering iron. That is filthy, apparently. That 10. I'm shaking like crazy today. What my deal is here. Get in there. Torch. I've got the cloth interior fabric, or the fabric interior tape, although this has the shiny stuff on it, but I think it'll be fine. So we'll get this loom back on there best we can. Let's see here. Got all the wires tucked in there. All right. Take our tape. And then we will just, we'll pretend like we were never here. Right, now that we have power, though I still don't have a fuse, now I can move the seat back, or forward rather, to make it easier to get to those back seats. Or back bolts rather. And I'll just have to snag a fuse for this thing, because, I mean, I guess I can move the passenger side over right now, but, you know, I don't think it'll be too handy having this around all the time, anytime you want to move the seat. Trying to do this one-handed. Alright, well I guess this little reactionless ratchet doesn't have enough balls in it to do that. So these bolts will sometimes go in or hard because they are, you know, they go outside. You know, they're up against the bottom of the truck, so spots where they can get a little rusty. So let me just throw this on the impact up here. Alright, well, I got it all back together. I'll just move the fuse from the passenger side to this side. And she works. I took the opportunity to spray a little silicone lubricant in the slides since they hadn't been moved in years and they were kind of rusty. But it works, and yeah, you know, the problem is what we thought it was, just not where I thought it was going to be. Alright, see you guys.